Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. An observation. I have here about 7 topics to discuss. The first one is the observation that these guys in the media, they change terms. They change terms for countries into NATO, the European Union. Not Romania or Latvia in this case, which both of them claims that Russian drones fell on or crashed on their territories. It's not Latvia and Romania, is NATO territory. Pay attention to this in the future. That's the first topic. The Americans are not eager beavers yet to get involved in a direct scuffle with Russia. Therefore, they try to, at this point, have a very calm reaction to this incidents, Latvia and Romania. Obviously, these guys want to get involved or get the Romanians and maybe, I don't know, the Poles get involved in Ukraine somehow. So White House has a little communique, a statement regarding this incident. The fighter jets, but not the country's fighter jets, the Romanian fighter jets or the Latvian fighter jets, is the European fighter jets. Remember, pay attention to this. They changed the terminology now. The other one, I'm going to show you the maps where this incident occurred. Russians report swift advance in Ukraine. Another topic. This comes from Le Monde. Frances Le Pen. She asks, or at least urges Macron, the little guy, to conduct referenda on certain issues like immigration and pension reform and so on, which she says is direct democracy, so you should do this. I've been saying this for some time. Do you think that that's the way it should be, with major national interest? Like, for instance, immigration. You don't leave the elected officials to determine that and decide for you. No, ask the people. Well, it's obvious that if you have a media in your hand, then you can be certain that the baboons will go in the referenda and do whatever they do best, which is being baboons. Another topic that I have for this video is Argentina activates, or at least the customers of Argentina. Remember, Argentina elected a pimp. The pimp is Milei. Milei is going to have Argentina, which is his lady of the night, is going to give it to his customers that actually are helped Mr. Milei being elected. So Milei says something very imbecilic. He urges International Criminal Court in The Hague to arrest Maduro. Why? Because he was activated. And what did Maduro do? Maduro's forces, army, surrounded its Argentinian embassy. So it's a little fight between the guy who was activated by his masters to attack Maduro. Maduro, the president-elect of, as it is right now, of Venezuela. European Union as a country did not recognize the elections, so for them Maduro is not the legitimate ruler of Venezuela. The same with these guys here in the United States of America. So let's start with the first one. Here is the first article coming from Fox News right here. Romania and Latvia confirm incursion by Russian drones into NATO airspace. Not in their space. No, it's NATO airspace. Pay attention to this. These guys, the countries, will be just, downgraded to something that is really not a country, because we don't want to talk about a new country, which is NATO. I know, military alliance. Next one. 2 NATO members say Russian drones violated their airspace. Remember, NATO members, NATO, it's like 2 states in the United States of America, let's say Kentucky and, Minnesota. Next one. Associated Press. 2 NATO members say Russian drones violated their airspace. Ukrinform. Russian drones crashes in Latvia. This is September 7th. Now I'm going to show you on the map where Latvia is and where Romania is in a moment. Now, the Telegraph. European fighter jets deployed after Russian drones enter NATO airspace. This is the greatest and the clearest way these guys are going to switch the terms. Is European fighter jets NATO airspace, owned by United States of America. Europe is owned and NATO is owned. Got that? Next one. White House not taken aback by Russian drones falling in NATO countries. It happened before. This weasel, Kirby. All right, let's see where that occurred, correct? So this is Romania right here. This is Latvia. So this is Russia, obviously. They fell on Latvia here and in Romania right here at the mouth of the Danube River, right here. I showed you that in a previous video. So these guys are NATO territory and they want to take this as NATO as well and coming towards Moscow, right? But hey, Moscow should just sit down and take it slowly or roughly. It depends how the customers want. So pay attention to this new push to identify that region as NATO territory and the European something. All right, and all this is owned by one country. Let's go to the next topic, which is the Russians say they swiftly advance. This comes from Reuters. Top Russian official reports swift advance in Ukraine, rules out talks for now. Obviously, why would you do this? Russia said on Tuesday its forces have advanced about 1,000 square kilometers, 390 square miles in eastern Ukraine in August and September, despite a Ukrainian incursion into western Russia, which ruled out any ceasefire talks with Kiev. So, since Russia sent armored forces, this is the propaganda thing right here in 2022, unprovoked. Did you say that unprovoked? No, they didn't. The war has largely been a story of grinding artillery and drone strikes along a heavy 45 1,000 kilometer, 620-mile front involving hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Russian Security Council Secretary Sergei Shoigu said that the August 6th Ukrainian incursion in Russia's Kursk region had aimed to improve Kiev's negotiating positions and divert Russian forces from the Donbas front in eastern Ukraine. But Shoigu said that Russian forces were increasing the pace of their offensive in Donbas, capturing almost 1,000 square kilometers over August and the first 8 days in September. Let me show you where that is. That happens right here. This is Donetsk. This is what he's talking about. This little bulge here, including all these attacks here. So that going towards Pokrovsk city of Pokrovsk. Now the Ukrainians obviously are the Ukrainians. The Westerners used the Ukrainians to attack Kursk and they advanced this much, which was great achievement. The Russians, if you remember a few months ago, they did this little garbage here in Kharkov. So, according to Sergei Shoigu, these guys are advancing big time. Well, let's go to France. Let's go to Marine Le Pen, which I think she's right. This comes from Le Monde. France's Le Pen urges Macron to hold a referendum to break political stalemate. Well, the thing is, Macron appointed the prime minister and the population went in the street some and did not like that. Last week, the French president appointed the center-right Michel Barnier as prime minister, trying to move forward, and after snap elections that resulted in a hung parliament. Here is Marine Le Pen. French far-right, because she's far-right, leader Marine Le Pen, which is far-left, on Sunday, September 8th, urged President Emmanuel Macron to hold a referendum on key issues such as immigration, suggesting that giving the French a direct vote might help break the political deadlock. Last week, Macron appointed the center-right Michel Barnier, a 73-year-old former foreign minister who acted as the European Union's Brexit negotiator, as prime minister, seeking to move forward after snap elections. But analysts say the country is set for a period of instability, with Barnier hold of power seen as fragile and dependent on support from Le Pen's Eurosceptic and anti-immigration resemblant National Party, which is the largest party in the new Assemblée Nationale. Right, so let's see what this guy's going to do. Do you think he's going to do? I don't think so. International Business Times, Francis Le Pen urges Macron to hold a referendum to break deadlock. I think they should do it. I'm all for it everywhere when you have issues, important issues for any country, but they don't do it. Why? Because it's hard to bribe, let's say, 60 million people, even though the French population that votes is not 60 million people. I think they are like 62, 63 million people altogether, as long as they still import French people, future French people. Then it's harder to buy an electorate, and you are not ready with the propaganda to make sure they're going to vote the way you want them. You don't want to conduct a referendum. But like this, it's easier to go to the National Assembly or have one person like Macron decide the pension reform, give it to me, sign, gone, legally, by the French Constitution. But hey, France is a democracy. All right, let's see. Let's go to Argentina. Argentina. We got this pimp right here who thinks he's Jewish, or he wants to be Jewish, which it's an incapability because he's a baboon. He doesn't know what that means. He thinks that if he converts, he becomes. But hey, I made a point in a video on Rumble talking about when you do a DNA test for, to see your ancestry, you find over there that you might be Jewish. I know religion doesn't show on DNA. Okay, it doesn't say you're a Catholic or so. This is an imbecile anyway. This is an imbecile, but I hope that even if being imbecile, he somehow would help Argentina as a whole. But I don't think so, because his masters are north of America. Argentina urges ICC to order arrest of Maduro. Okay, Buenos Aires claims actions by Venezuela's government could be considered crimes against humanity. Now, this is an imbecility. I mean, it's not only you be the judge. I'm just reporting. Argentina has called on the International Criminal Court, ICC, to issue an arrest warrant for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and other officials citing alleged human rights violations during crackdown on post-election unrest. Yeah, and the guy left for Spain, one of the opposition guys, and the other one was arrested in Florida for, you go and check it out. The actions taken by Maduro's government since the July 28th ballot could constitute crimes against humanity, the Argentine Foreign Ministry claimed on Friday. The statement said a request to the court will be submitted on Monday. And this guy, man. According to the National Electoral Council of Venezuela, Maduro won the July presidential election with 52% of the vote. The Western-backed opposition, however, has accused officials in Caracas of rigging the ballot, with rival candidate Edmundo Gonzalez claiming he, in fact, received 67%. I think he flew to, if this guy, right here, this West-backed, yeah, he got a master's degree, if I remember correctly, from American University. So go for it and realize what's going on. You figured it out. Next one, right here. BBC, because you can trust these guys. Venezuelan forces surrounded embassy, sheltering opposition figures. Toyota. Should we impose sanctions on Toyota? Because they obviously are used by criminal government. Venezuelan security forces have surrounded the Argentine embassy in the capital Caracas, which is sheltering 6 Venezuelan political figures opposed to President Nicolas Maduro. That means this guy is involved in something, isn't he? Involved with his masters. That's why those guys went to him, and he is doing that. He's just used by his Western masters. Members of the Venezuelan opposition posted images and videos of officers from the country's intelligence services forming a perimeter around the embassy complex. Just go in as they did in, what was the embassy? In London, when it was Assange. Remember Assange was over there? These guys entered and grabbed him. They had a warrant. So how about these guys? Issue a warrant, grab them and get them out. No? So who's more democratic? Who respects the law? The Brits? Remember, an Ecuadorian embassy. So Ecuador has an embassy in London, and these guys went and took Assange from their embassy with an arrest warrant. They just entered, pop, took it and out. Ew. Why don't they do the same thing here? Well, who's the tyrant here? The guys in London or the guys in Caracas? Well, you'd be the judge on that one, right? Opposition figures inside the building said they were under siege. Okay, they can just enter there. The embassy as well as Argentine or interest in Venezuela have been represented by Brazil since diplomatic relations between Argentina and Venezuela broke down over the summer due to the outcome of Venezuela's presidential election. On Saturday, the Venezuelan government revoked Brazil's custody of the embassy, it said, in an apparent attempt to remove its diplomatic protection. So we'll see. We'll see about that in the near future. So my friends, remember, now it's going to be NATO, and for a little while the European Union, the Europeans will be attached, but it's going to be NATO. And NATO is going to be a country, military force like Sparta, but far from Sparta. Sparta had Agoi, the school. This guy had, I identify as, change my, going down. Not like that, but going down like that. All right. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.